Hi, and welcome
Hey,
to Accidental Thoughts. I'm Jason.
I'm Jimmy.
Here we are. I finally released our first episode,
Another
and
glorious day.
we are 13 episodes deep in recording. Recap, we've talked about a whole bunch of stuff, but rumor has it you got something start us off today.
Well, I mean, we were discussing the fact that just having a conversation, something that just kind of mingle in stuff like that. Today, I actually, you brought up something earlier, which I'll let you talk about here in a little bit or next or whatever. But I don't know if you saw it today, but within today's news, Donald Trump wants to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of
Yeah,
America.
to the Gulf of America. I
I
saw
was
that.
like, what?
Hell yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty brazen. And I'll tell you, I actually had to look it up. And I mean, there's a lot that goes in. I mean, a lot of people have to agree to it. It ain't just us. It's
Yeah.
everywhere has to agree to this.
Well, because
And I thought it was
it
really interesting. Like, okay,
technically international water, is it not?
right, correct. It is.
Yeah.
But how long has it been called the Gulf of Mexico?
That's a
I didn't
good
even bother
question.
to
I
look.
don't know.
I mean, I
I
mean,
really don't know.
does it really matter? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can see why he would do that, and I kind of
Right.
think it's it's a stamp. I'm making a difference. And I understand that, but I thought that was pretty wild today. He goes, it'd be a beautiful name, and he's like, he's all on board with it, and I'm like, okay, that one's
Right.
left field. I didn't see that coming.
Right? Yeah, no, I did not see that one coming either. I did see the wanting to buy Greenland and
Yeah.
make Canada the 51st state because
Yeah.
Canada, frankly, is not going to be able to survive
Right.
um, the
Well,
trade deficit that
what's
they
his
have.
name? Yeah, resigned or something, or
Yes, he did. And Pierre Olivier, I believe, is going
yeah,
to
something like that.
potentially has like a 90% chance of winning, and he's on the conservative side. I learned a lot about
Right.
him during the trucker standoff
Right, during the strikes.
back during COVID. Yep.
Right.
I learned a lot
Learned a
about
lot.
him, and he is the Canadian equivalent of Donald Trump,
I
essentially.
think, yeah, because I remember I read somewhere today about the fact that we get like 20% of our vehicles made from Canada, and we get a lot of our
Yep,
lumber from there. And I think Trump came out today saying something about the fact that, we can make them in Detroit. We can do it here, and we have our own trees.
exactly.
And I'm just like, I mean, he's definitely put the stamp on the fact of, I'm standing alone. If you want to stand with me, that's fine. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, and there are a lot of people that would argue nationalism is bad, but
Right.
honestly, with what we could do here, I think the nationalism is a good thing. You know,
Right. Oh,
we're
yeah,
talking about
very much so.
American jobs and
Exactly.
American, made products, which a lot of people don't realize. We would pay more because we want to live off the wages we make here. But
Exactly.
if we have these tariffs in place for the imports,
Yeah.
that will offset that cost.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand how those tariffs work. They're not really
Exactly.
meant to
Yeah.
tax us. They're meant to
Yeah.
tax these other countries. Hey, if you want to
They
do
only see a
business with
portion of it.
us,
Right.
yeah, exactly. And it's more about the other countries that want to do business with us.
Right.
But unfortunately, Canada, if we started tariffing them, Canada would collapse. And what's
Yeah.
funnier yet is I've seen videos of Canadians going, hey, we would love to be the 51st state. Imagine in our lifetime if we add a 51st state and it's all of Canada.
Yeah.
Imagine if we had a 52nd state and it's Greenland. This is all possible. He's not kidding about this stuff.
Right.
So will it really happen?
Well, I mean,
I don't
well,
know,
hey,
but
I mean, it's kind of like you say, could it happen? I mean, it's kind of like, well, the next thing I was even looking at earlier today, and you may have seen it
right,
about, Zuckerberg decided, nope,
right,
I'm done with I'm done with this third party fact checker deal on Meta. He's going to go back out, to crowdsource, and I
yeah,
think the election, I mean, look how much the influence itself has changed everything. Because I mean, you're sitting here talking about Canada and green and stuff like that. And was this a
Yep.
conversation a year ago? Really? No, we didn't know. I mean, it was maybe brought up, but not in the sense of
No,
realistic
a
or
year ago we were talking about no taxes on tips. It was
exactly,
about the most political thing we were talking about, and
exactly.
the lawfare and the
Right,
fact that Biden had lost his
right.
dang marbles. And
And would you
I
have
mean, no
picked
disrespect
right? Would
to
you have
Biden
picked
on that. He was
something
president.
like that?
He is president until the 20th.
Yep. And you can already see, I mean, even today, with X amount of days left, I mean, I just heard earlier about the fact that he pardoned like 11 Taliban
Yep.
and let them go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what? And I'm like,
Well, and on top of that, he also pardoned pedophiles
yep.
and rapists and
And now he's
illegals
trying to
and
pass a bill or something before that Trump takes office, where it'll make it impossible. Well, not impossible, but make it, you know, improbable for him to do certain things that he wants to do. And I'm like,
well,
golly. I mean, what is
the thing is, though, he isn't going to be able to get that bill through Congress.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
'Cause he's got
and the thing is, the
everything
best
with
he
it.
can hope for is to push the executive orders through, which, as we found out 4 years ago, can be canceled just as easily as they can be implemented.
Right. But
So,
I thought it was interesting that, I think it was 4 years ago when, Zuckerberg was totally against, Trump or, Republicans and stuff like that. Now, he's not saying he is, but you can see that he is a smart individual enough to know that, hey, I need to stay with this. I need to stay, with, because he knows it takes the society as a whole to do what he's doing. And I think it made a real
he
big
could
deal
also
by him
be
doing it.
scared.
That's true. I think it's
Now,
possibly.
the other observation I've made about Zuckerberg, though, is you notice how unhealthy he looked
I
four
know.
years ago, and he
Now,
actually looks like he's been out in the sun a little bit now,
yeah,
and he
he
looks a
looks more
little healthier.
buff.
So,
Yeah,
exactly, it looked like he might be truly coming around in that
maybe.
respect,
Exactly.
but it's hard to tell.
Yep. It's kind.
It's
It's kind
hard
of
to
like
tell because just 4 years ago, he spent $400 million on fraudulent drop
right,
boxes for ballot.
right, right. What do you
So,
think about it? But
just saying.
we're sitting there talking about 4 years ago. We keep referring to the fact of the election before and what happened, and then we just had
Exactly.
this one here. But what's another thing that kind of popped out a little bit today, even, I don't know if you saw it or not, about McDonald's. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they
No,
are
what
rolling.
happened with McDonald's?
They're rolling back on their DEI
A lot of
involvement.
companies have done that.
I know, and
A
now McDonald's
lot of
and
companies have done
Walmart,
that since the
Harley
election.
Davidson, John Deere, Tractor
Yep.
Supply,
Yep.
Lowe's, all of these companies are stepping away from that. And today,
Yep.
McDonald's threw in their hat and said, okay, we need to step back from that. And it's like, okay. And it doesn't stop it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the initiative is still there, and I can see that they're still trying. And I'm like, okay, but the impact that it's going to have it's losing steam. And the only thing that can help it is that if we, people like myself and you are still proactive in the fact of, hey, seriously? I mean,
Well, you and I both believe that people should be hired based
yeah,
on their merit,
merit,
period. If you can do
yes,
the job, you can do the job.
right,
If you can't, you can't. And,
exactly,
honestly,
exactly,
let's put it this way. If they wanted to do some form of, say, DEI, whatever you want to call it,
yes,
if
right,
they had both a person of color and a white person with the same qualifications, and they chose the person of color because they think they're going to work out better,
right.
I got no issue there.
Yeah, it's called like the
But
warm body program. Oh, you're a warm body. Let's hire you.
exactly,
That's bull. It
exactly. You're a
doesn't work
minority
that
and a
way.
warm body. Let's hire you. Yeah, no,
Yeah, you're
we've
perfect
seen the results of that in our day
everywhere.
jobs.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause I
everywhere.
mean, yeah. Who's this guy coming into work? Oh, I have no idea. I never met him. I just saw his application. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm just saying, I mean, he has to be able to lift 600 pounds. Well, first of all, it's not a he.
Exactly.
Okay, what do
Yeah.
I
Did you
what
just
am I
assume their gender? Shame on you.
exactly, you're just totally
Yeah.
what? What am I supposed to
It's
do?
true.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
not trying to sit there
dude
to
has a
say
name like
something mean.
Tom. I'm gonna
Exactly.
think it's a dude.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? For
It's
some jobs
Tamika now.
exactly. I mean, it can't be I mean, just example, okay? And I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm really not. I'm not trying to be
Mhm.
mean. But
No.
let's say, for instance, it was like McDonald's, okay? And you want to go to work at McDonald's, and you want to work the
Yep.
drive-thru. But just unfortunately enough,
Okay.
you go through this DI program, and you are a, let's just say, sake of argument, not to put anything else, but you are every bit of a 3 foot tall midget, little person, however you want to
Gummy.
call it. How are you going to work at a window door, whatever you call it? I'm not trying to be mean. Exactly. Exactly. Mhm. Yeah. Short. Just saying
You
short.
know.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. What are you gonna do? Gotta
They're
lower
if
the
they're a
window?
dwarf, midget,
Steps to
we
I understand.
apologize if it's not PC, but at the same time, we want you to know that we have nothing against anybody here
No,
and
no,
everybody at the same time.
no. I'm against
It's
everybody. I'm against
yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
I'm not against
People
anybody, but I'm
suck.
against everybody. That's all is like, that's all I can say, you know. You're not me.
Exactly.
Sorry to hear it, man. I'm sorry you're not me. I
Bingo.
mean,
And it goes back to that, just general rule of people stuff.
right. But what I'm saying is, if they get away from that, now that they're leaning away from it, and it's like, okay, it needs to be by the qualification. It needs to be. I said, hey, that's what America was always built upon. I mean, and it's like
Exactly.
get back to doing that. But even through all of that, and as much as we saw today or heard today or whatever the case may be, there were a couple things that we discussed, and then another thing that I'm still kind of got my. Ah, wait, hold up. Okay.
You did not
Did
go
not
out and
go out
buy
and buy
Larry, did
Larry.
you?
No, it's not. It was Leroy.
Leroy, that's right. Leroy the crap slinging monkey.
Singing monkey. I
Because he
would have
wants you to
swore.
know that he's intelligent.
I would have thought. Like I said, when I first thought about it, I didn't even know why I thought about it or why it even crossed my demented mind. But the point being is that why? What is the? And I thought for sure it's got to be some kind of a defense mechanism, like there's people in my way or something like that. And no, it's a monkey
It
slings its food.
because it's readily available.
It's just there. It's like what? Look, so I kept thinking, man, look what I would do for a pet monkey,
Right.
you know? Then that's when we got on the term of the pet. Why is it called a pet?
Yeah,
Why is it a pet?
exactly.
If it's
And
a
what
verb,
did you find out in your research?
I'll tell you this much. If you use the word pet as a
Yeah.
verb, it's actually comes up as grotesquely, what did it say? Hold on. Until I got it wrote down, but I was like, what? As a verb form, it means to stroke or caress in the verb form. So, but in the
The
old
word
English
pet is
word,
a shortened version of the word petted.
right, that's it, right. In the old English, yeah, in the old English, you know what it means? Spoiled child. It means a spoiled child. Pet.
Makes
Makes
a
sense.
lot of sense.
Yep. Now I know why I don't want a pet. Why I don't want a spoiled child.
Exactly. I got
It'd still be fun to
several
have
here,
a.
as you know, all of them rescues,
Yeah.
and all of them are spoiled more than my children. So yeah,
Yeah, but I'll tell you right
spoiled
now,
children.
none of them can sling poo. Not gonna happen.
No. Well, actually, there was a time
No,
when
sling,
the
not carry.
dog, well, yeah, the dog freaked out enough they slung it. Okay, but she had been eating like threads out of some bed she had or something, was chewing on a bed, and it all come out. She was whipping around because it freaked her out, and she slung it. It was unintentional slinging, but it was still slinging.
How can you
Spit it out. You want to
be
spit
an
that one out.
intentional poo slinger?
Un-
You could
unintentional poo
you could
slinger.
write a western for that. The unintentional poo slinger. slinger. But I did. I seriously did. I honestly, honest God, I thought it was a defense mechanism why they did that. It made
Right.
sense, but not because
It
I
didn't.
have ample amounts of it. Enjoy. I didn't see that.
Right. Yeah. I have ample amounts. It's a way to communicate their needs. Like, what need are they
kind of need
communicating
is
when
to
they're slinging a bird at you? Is that I need you to sting or I need you to get away? Which is it? Well, the thing is, though, in the wild, we also discovered that in the wild,
right?
chimps rarely throw their poop.
Exactly.
So it's like it's not really a wild behavior. It's a captive behavior.
And you can see the rabbit hole that we go down through every day.
Yeah. Welcome to Accidental Thoughts. Didn't I say that earlier?
I don't even know why
Man,
I came up with that. I was just like, I wonder why.
the one that killed me, though, and I'm going to read it here, okay,
Didn't you say
is
it was the
sign of
orangutan?
intelligence.
Yeah, the
It shows you
orangutan or something.
throwing
Yeah.
poop is a sign of high-ordered behavior and intelligence. Chimpanzees with better aim tend to have more developed motor and frontal cortexes, which are associated with physical motion and language processing.
I sling
What?
because it's smart.
I sling because I are smart.
That to me is,
I
first of
forgot
all,
to
there had
sling
to be
mine
a
earlier to
study.
show that I was smart.
There had to be a study. Did you see how he picked that up and threw that? That is a highly intelligent monkey right there. Did you see that? I mean, the form, the
Yeah, he hit the
spiral on that
bullseye.
thing. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, well, he hit the bullseye.
part of me wonders if it's the same group that sit there and
Good.
determined the purpose of the projectile of penguin poo. And I'm like, what? Why do you care? There's a group
Exactly.
that does this. They use it in the sense of what? What do they use it for? Why is there the pressure of like,
Because it's there. Monkeys are poop factories, apparently. The one thing we didn't look up on that is how many times a day do they poop? Because if they're slinging it, if they're slinging it, is it something they can readily go, you know what? I'm going to take a dump right here, right now and sling it.
what do they do?
Or is
They're
it something that there's no telling? I mean, there's no telling. But yeah, that's the pet I want, though. Like we were talking earlier, you could train Leroy. Hey, Leroy,
Exactly.
go
I
get him.
want one that sits on your arm like a lemur. They call it a lemur, don't they?
The capuchin or they have some ring-tailed lemurs.
What's
What's
the one
the
that
other
makes,
one?
where do they get the coffee from? Where's the one they get the coffee from? You could get like a
Oh, the one night at the museum is a capuchin.
yeah, you get like the multi-useful monkey, or you can get your.
Yeah, but the problem with the small shoulder monkey is the poo's gonna be small.
You gotta get a diaper.
You want
or
an
something.
ape or silverback or something, so you can have a big old handful. I shall destroy mine enemies with my gorilla poo. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is never scripted. Just so you know, this is all random, accidental thought.
You wear a diaper, then turn around to that person that you just don't get along with, okay? And you go and you tick them off. You tick off these crows.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need to tell that one because you were there to see it. You need to tell that one. You were there to see it.
I couldn't believe it. There was this guy. I shit. Hit crows out there by his car in the parking lot. And every time he'd go out there, he basically, they would just sit out there. They weren't on his car or anything like that. They were just out there by his car. And he was harassing him. He's like, throwing stuff at him. Anyway, one day I was sitting outside and I was getting ready to leave and I was talking to somebody and he was coming out the door and we just happened to look across the parking lot. There's this crow coming, but it looks like it's carrying, it almost looked like a stork carrying
what was it carrying, Jimmy?
It was carrying a diaper.
Now, was this diaper a fresh pamper or was it a used one?
It wasn't fresh, but it was, you could tell this bird knew what it was doing. Because it dropped this diaper on this dude's car. And when it hit this dude's car, just, went everywhere.
Well,
And
For
I'm
our
like,
listeners out there who don't
what?
know, crows are smart and do hold grudges. Any of the
That was
family of crows.
amazing.
Down here in Houston, we have what we call grackles, and they're a smaller version of the crow species, but they are just as smart and just as smart ass. You don't
And it's
piss them off.
They're
I,
vindictive.
as you know, Jimmy, carry extra bags of stale chips in my truck just to give them
Right.
because I want them watching my car. I don't want them doing that. That is the ultimate shit slinging.
I don't know. So you get your little monkey that can make your
You get
coffee.
your crows and get your toddler or baby still in diapers. Start saving them up. Be like
It's
Ace
like,
Ventura,
exactly. This will happen.
right?
I can just, I don't know. Look like one of them
I don't know, man.
witches of Eastwick
That's
kind
not
of a deal or something.
right.
I got a monkey ear and a bird
Leroy, get
to
them.
deliver.
What do you call the crow though? What do you call your crow? Edgar Allan Crow?
I got Edgar and Leroy.
I mean,
Why do I
well, because
sound like a 1970s sitcom?
right? Well, the popular thing to do with crows, and they do keep pet crows up north. I'm sure there's some around here too, but they teach them to read Edgar Allan Poe because their voices are deep.
Okay, say that one more time. Did you say teach them to read?
They teach them to quote Edgar Allan Poe,
Who?
like the most common people that own crows. In fact, the
Okay,
most
not
common they teach
I'm
them
sitting there going,
to say nevermore. And
right.
if you've ever heard a crow say nevermore, it's pretty interesting because they get nevermore, nevermore. And I mean, it's deep, rumbly, and like almost creepy. And you know me, I've had paws and everything else that we've rescued over the years, and I've had conversations with those, like
Yeah.
weird conversations. Birds sitting there going, hey, you're working too late. Get your butt home because I miss you, type stuff. And so I know how intelligent
Bossy
birds
bird.
are. Well, he wasn't bossy, but he was screaming at my wife at the time. This is a blue and
Get
gold macaw
back.
that was
Get
named
back.
Soko by the original owner, as in Southern Company. Okay. And we had rescued him. We'd had him a year or two. I was working late in
Right.
retail at the time, and he's screaming at his mom. He's like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And she calls me up. She's like, your bird wants to. I go, hi, Soko. And he goes, hi. I can't get the high voice right now.
What's the bird that repeats?
Well, those are macaws, parrots,
If
species,
they hear
different parrot
something,
species.
if they hear a
They
conversation
don't
or
just
whatever.
repeat it though. They don't just repeat it. Their intelligence level is that of a teenager, but their
That doesn't.
behavior is that of a 2-year-old toddler.
Right.
So put
But
those two
what's the one
together,
that
and it's kind of a
is it?
combo for disaster.
Is it the parrot or the parakeet or whatever that sits there and will?
Parakeets can mimic.
Yeah, they mimic.
They don't know if they actually understand or not. But
Right.
a macaw knows what it's doing, just like the crow did that dropped that diaper on that thing. But anyway, this macaw and I are having the conversation back and forth. He goes, what you doing? I'm going, working. Why? Well, because your food ain't free and somebody's got to keep a roof over our head. And he goes, well, hurry up. I'm like, dude, I'm getting here as fast as I can. This is a
Explains a lot.
bird telling me all this.
That you're having
Yeah.
conversations with birds like that. That answers a lot for me.
Dude, don't knock it till you tried it. They're pretty funny. They'd give us a run for our money.
You were sitting there explaining yourself.
I
Hey,
was explaining myself to a
cut me some slack.
2.5-year-old parrot that was asking questions that pertained to what the situation was.
I'm just saying, man.
And it's like that alone was enough to freak me out.
It was kind of like having a pet. Period. I mean, again,
Yeah. Back with pets. Yep. Behave, Leroy.
yes. Hey, I don't believe right. Nothing wrong with you. It's the fact of you talk to them, because it says like a spoiled child or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is it something where the pet really does truly understand, or did it just understand your tone? You know what I'm saying? I mean, your
I
tone,
think there's the possibility they understand a lot, and it could
right,
have a lot to do with the tone,
right,
but it also has to do with your body languages. Your animals read your body language more than they
exactly,
do your tone.
yeah.
So,
So if I was sitting here and Leroy decided to make a cup of coffee on my shoulder, I'm sitting here like this, I'm gonna be like, read the room. Is that what you're saying? It's gonna understand
he might, you look
me?
at him like, hey, I really don't want that coffee.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like,
You could have sold
more
that.
for me. Now, primate is a different story. Those primates are pretty dang smart. They're up there with those parrot species, and they understand and can even learn sign language. I mean, we all remember from our generation Coco, who
Well,
even
here's the thing.
adopted cats.
I don't
Yeah,
understand. When you said earlier about the fact that, the reason they do this, back to the flinging of the flong, you said ample amount. How many times does a monkey go? I mean, normal monkey go a
that's
day.
the question.
There you go. Look, I
S-
see what you're doing.
I don't know.
That's your search
Yeah,
history,
you know
baby.
exactly what I'm doing.
I'd pay a buffalo nickel for when your kids walk in there. Dad, what are you looking up?
Yeah, exactly right. Well, it says they poop throughout the day. It does not say it. It says they do often poop in bouts. They poop in bouts. So
What?
in
About
bouts, in other words, like they'll go a little while without, and then they will get a whole bunch of poops. Yeah. So I don't know.
wait a minute.
The
So
Monkey
is it,
Matters blog says, "And may the poop be plentiful." So it's the tagline on the search result, right? Hey, I've got a good bleep bit. Oh wait, what?
okay?
Anyway, bottom line, yeah, we're talking about pets and Leroy the poop flinging monkey and Harry the homing pigeon, the crow, Charlie the crow, and all
And
that
you
good stuff
thought
here on
we were
Accidental.
just going to talk about the Gulf of America.
No, no, no. We try to do some recaps sometimes of what's going on in
I
the
want to
world
see
so that
what
people can
I
tell
want to see
them to
what AI
record
does
this.
with this. What?
You and me both. And with that, we leave it to you, AI. This has been Accidental Thoughts. I'm
Good luck,
Jason. That's
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Y'all have a blessed one. We'll talk to
Have
you
a
the
blessed
next time.
later, guys.